raising the sign up rate on your landing page, that is what most people think about when they think about conversion rate optimization in the context of B2B lead generation. Lots of people have this problem that they have a website, but people are just not doing what they're supposed to be doing on this landing page. And I want to show you a couple of steps that I take very frequently on every single project, including my own website, to increase that sign up rate, to get a visitor to enter your CRM. Yeah, we have like contact data, email, of course, everything with their consent. The first step, and by far the easiest one, when you haven't done this before, is to look at your landing page with open eyes and especially ask other people to use your landing page and watch them, and to reduce every single piece of friction that there is. Here again, we use the case study Monday Rocks, the B2B team development app. You can check out their landing page at monday.rocks. And you see, this is a great designed landing page. Yeah, it's very clear what you're supposed to do here. You can view the pricing, you schedule an appointment. So you could already argue that having 2 call to actions causes some friction because you have to make a decision. So it can be argued that you want one landing page for this, one landing page for that, and keep that separate. But you can absolutely test that if 2 call to actions work better than 1. More often than not, single call to action works the best. So, but what are some general rules that I follow to reduce friction? There is an amazing book called Don't Make Me Think, and the title says it all. If your user has to think about, what does this headline mean? I don't understand this image. Do I have to pay something when I press this button? Then the game is already over. Yeah, if you make your users think too hard, then your conversion rate will suffer. You can argue that you do want to cause some friction in order to get higher qualified leads. For example, having more sign-up fields, yeah, by asking them how many employees they have, what job title they have, in which industry they are working in. Yes, you can do this if you have the awesome problem of having too many leads. But we are talking today from the perspective of, shit, something is not working in the lead generation department. Don't make me think. First rule number 1. Then removing every unnecessary step. This is the place where I got a nice technique from my fellow growth marketing friend Hendrik Lennartz. He forces his teams to print out every single screen or page that a user has to go through and put it up on a wall. And what you usually end up with are like 20 steps that a user has to take in order to get any kind of value out of that. And then we look at the wall and say, like, this needs to go, this needs to go, this needs to go. But maybe we need to add some steps to make it more transparent, easier to understand for the user in order to increase the conversion rates. So it's not only about subtracting, but really having the essentials lined up and not having anything that is unnecessary. And this can be steps, yeah, like real landing page steps, but all clicks that are unnecessary in the journey I also try to avoid. Then minimizing the form fields. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. And then have a good consent banner. We are absolutely in an e-privacy and GDPR time. And if your consent banner sucks, that is the place where you ask people like, hey, do you want to be tracked for the rest of your life or not? And you need to get more people than say no to say yes, I want to be tracked, for your analytics to work. If this experience sucks, or for example, what I see very often, let's say you have a mobile device and the lower third is covered by your consent banner, you would usually think that people would make a decision, but they don't. Most people will just try to use the little square that is up there and try to avoid making any kind of decisions on that cookie banners. So having a good solution over there is paramount in this time. So, but what else makes it? First rule was try to reduce friction where you can. The second rule is offer something of value. This sounds so fucking stupid, but it is the one thing that is missing the most. So what did we have on the landing page before? In the case study of Money or Rocks, we asked people to schedule an appointment in order to buy a product that they might not yet know whether or not they need it. Instead, we made a decision to, in order to increase the lead generation effort, that we first provide something of value with as few strings attached as possible. And in this case, we decided for a little PDF presentation that is like the 4x4 of employee motivation. It's very easy to understand, very easy to preview, and this is the complete landing page that you already see there. It just has like an imprint and a data privacy at the bottom that I cut out. So if you want to check that out, go to mondayrocks.4x4. So what could be something of value that you could offer? So people love our checklist PDFs, explainer posters where you explain like a process or a roadmap to success in the problem and solution that you are providing. People love book recommendation lists. They do not love free strategy calls as much as they used to. This used to be the shit that you say like, hey, do you want a free strategy session? But in some industry, this is simply has been abused. If you're, for example, in the coaching industry, you can forget about it. But if you're in an industry that has not too many marketers destroying this tactic, offering a free call is an amazing way to get in touch with the people. And if you want more ideas, I linked up one of my favorite lists, 69 ideas from Opt-in Monster. If you want to check that out, just download the slides. The link is here in the description, somewhere on the comments. And there is just a huge list of lead gen ideas that you might get to use for yourself. The next thing is small commitments first, big commitments later. I see lots of form fields that just have like 8 different fields that filled out and like 3 checkboxes to make. And you really need to consider, if you have not enough leads coming in, do I need all of those form fields? Do I not want to reduce it to the fundamental ones? Here you see the form field that we built for the 4x4 employee motivation PDF. It's just a name, first name, last name, email, consent for data processing, consent for the newsletter, and then the submit button. That is today the minimum. Yeah. So first name, last name, email, if you must, company. But you can usually tell which company it is from the email addresses. But let's say your sign up form, people are using more private emails, then ask them for the company. That's fine. And then this is a big opportunity. First of all, we are required for the consent for data processing. And then give them a chance to opt into your newsletter. Yeah, it is currently not fully clear what's legal, what's not, but my understanding at the moment that we cannot make this a required field to opt them into a newsletter, but to ask them to opt in. And this is a big chance for people to follow up after they got the lead magnet. And if you shared something of value, and you are showing them that you're willing to give first and then ask later, then they're going to want to join your newsletter list. All right, the next part is focusing on a great headline, on the header fold. This is the first screen that people see either on desktop or mobile. So why focus on this? I see a lot of people building landing pages with like 8 different folds below each other. 50% of people are not going to scroll down. Just let that sink in. Like 75% of people will not scroll below like the 3rd fold. That means the action is happening at the top. If you do not write an exciting headline, a short description, and something that is catchy in the call to action, people will just leave your website. And all you need to do, like as we did on this landing page, this is an extremely minimal landing page that is high converting. Title, that is 4x4 of like employee motivation, a description of what they're getting, that is enticing and curiosity building, and then a call to action, making sure they understand that it's free, and then a little image on the right hand side. And that is all you need for a simple landing page. And if that's already working, then you can switch over and create more folds if you really must. Besides focusing on your header fold, you should focus on a mobile first experience. If you're doing any kind of advertising, you have to face this new reality that on Facebook, Instagram it's 100% mobile traffic. Facebook is like 80% mobile traffic. LinkedIn, it's more than half of mobile traffic. So go for a mobile first experience. And the advantage of going for mobile first is that you also have an awesome desktop layout. Desktop layouts, if you start with that first, has the tendency to cram too much information into one space. And that is against the don't make me think rule. So this is a simple view from the mobile experience. You see, we don't have any fancy background images. The image on the right hand side is below the call to action because the priority is on making it understandable what's supposed to happen here and what you're supposed to do. Press the orange button. And I always say that you should put your call to action button on a thumb friendly way. Yeah, so you have your mobile device here. If you hold it like this, you know that people are having their button, their thumbs, not at the very bottom, not at the top, but like in the lower third. And this is where I would put your call to action on a mobile view of your website. Then on mobile, it's really hard to read any text on a fancy background image. And I hear teams argue days what kind of images are supposed to be used. And I'm just telling them, for fuck's sake, just choose a color that you like or a texture, and that's it. Nobody can see what's on the background image in a mobile first world. Of course, there's some exceptional like video background images, but there are some good arguments against that, like page speed load. Yeah, that is going to suffer for that. And just focus on the text, make a text-centric layout, and minimize any kind of navigation that you have at the top. And don't have your logo like take up like imagine this is the whole screen that you can see, and like I see navigation bars that are this thick. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. So have that minimized as much as possible, and then have a centered consent banner. And this centered consent banner is very important because you want to force people to make a decision on your consent banner. If you just keep it on the lower end, it will just screw up your design. People will try to avoid making that decision, and that will not help you with tracking or your conversion rate optimization. All right, so let's keep going. Let's sum up here. So raising the sign-up rate of your landing pages goes in 5 steps for me. It's like reducing any types of friction, offer something that people truly value before you ask them, make small commitments first before you ask them for bigger commitments, focus on a great header fold at the top, and go for a mobile first experience. That's it. We've looked at the bottleneck. We have talked about increasing the engagement rate. And now we fixed our sign-up rate on our landing page. But what happens afterwards? Now you got the lead. People actually got your lead magnet. You got their email, contact data. You hopefully got the consent for a follow-up. And now what I want you to do is to create and optimize your email sequence that comes after the opt-in. Because the opt-in is just the beginning. We're going to talk about that in the next part.